Oh my goodness, this one hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts so bad. And it doesn't hurt my head. It hurts my heart, honestly. Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is Boost My Build, the series where we take your PC build list, we tear them up, we put them back together, and we massively increase your performance. And we've got two crazy builds for this episode. We have a micro budget $700 gaming PC that wants to fit in massive performance into a tiny little budget, and it doesn't end well. Then we've got an $1,800 gaming PC build that's putting together all the wrong parts from all the wrong eras, making all the common first-time builder mistakes. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like, of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. All right, we've got Dean. Dean is in the US. They want to do a brand new build for $700 in the US. The budget, however, is for the PC only. They say they're an international college student. They're going into their junior year. They need a PC for school, but they also want to play games in their downtime. This is a new build for them to play at 1440p because they have a 1440p gaming monitor, so 2 thumbs up there. Between tuition and rent, I have just never had the money for a PC, man. I feel that pain. This year, I decided going to try and save up for parts for a DDR5 system. Ouch, 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 for $700. I already have an 850 watt power supply. Okay, that's great. Probably $50, $60 off the budget then. But you're waiting till Black Friday to get some deals. Okay, I know this has been a hard year for folks at every build level, but especially at the budget level. So I'm gonna try and be gentle with this one, but we are gonna get you something for $700 that you can play games on. Let's see what you got. Oh my goodness, this one hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts so bad. And it doesn't hurt my head. It hurts my heart, honestly, to see this, because I can tell you even named it like my dream PC here. And that's just like breaking my heart. So I'm committed. We're going to get you something, but let's go through like why this is not the right approach. And then let's get on the path of right approach for you. Let's start off where else. The budget, $853.66. Now you didn't include a PSU because you said you already had one. It's like a $50 or $60 value basically. So you can either consider it $760. I'll probably add a PSU in here and you can just discount the cost of it. That way everyone else can kind of play along at home. But right now, as I look at this build, I just see a massive mismatch of expectations versus reality. And I think we need to align those. And I also want to go through this because you said, oh, I'm going to wait till Black Friday for some deals. Let's talk about things you can expect deals on and what you can't expect deals on. Let's start off with the GPU. We have the ARC Challenger OC ARC B570. There's only a handful of ARC B570 models out there. I think the Challenger might be the only one currently available on the market right now. The Sparkle ones are gone. All the other ones are gone off the market. I don't know why that is. Maybe they're just running out. This is the end of the lineup for their dedicated GPUs. That being said, I think this is a good graphics card to grab at this price point. You can't even get RTX 5050 right now for less than $300. But here is where I think we've made kind of a fatal mistake, and that is going with the Ryzen 5 8400F, not because I don't love the 8400F, it's a disabled APU, it has limited PCIe connectivity, versus the 7500F, which would be a much better choice, by the way. It's the actual Zen architecture, it's not a disabled APU. But that aside, we've locked ourselves into what? DDR5 RAM, and DDR5 RAM pricing is double what DDR4 is, and I don't know that we're going to find the performance there with a GPU like the ARC B570 or even like an RTX 5050. For the cooler, I don't mind the cooler. However, your CPU did come with a Wraith Stealth cooler, and I think if you're trying to squeeze every dollar and you're already $150 over budget, I would not spend money on a cooler if you don't have to, if you have the stock cooler. I do love this cooler quite a bit. I recommend it all the time. If you are somebody out there who's got a little extra money to spend or your CPU needs it, this is a great cooler to pick up. But the motherboard, I mean, listen, the Gigabyte B650M Gaming Plus Wi-Fi is among the cheapest B650s out there. You can pick some boards up by ASRock for like $89. I will note, I think finally somebody has listened to me out there about the pricing on the A620 motherboards being identical to B650. And finally, we're seeing A620 boards like around $70. So you might save a handful of money there. But again, in terms of also Black Friday savings, I don't think these are coming down much more than about $100. Now you picked up this Kingston Fury RAM kit. Now this one is unfortunately crazy priced. $269 is one of the more expensive kits out there, even with a promo code. Now it could be you put this together a couple days ago, it had a better promo code on it, and now it doesn't. You can typically find DDR5 kits anywhere from $215 up to $230 right now. I kind of give it like $220 as a kind of running average there. And yes, on Black Friday, you'll probably be able to find deals, but I wouldn't expect to save more than like $20, so maybe down to 200 bucks. I don't know why we got the Samsung 980 500 gigabyte drive here. First of all, the Samsung 980 is not really manufactured by Samsung anymore. Now it's the 990 is the one that they're manufacturing instead. This is also a super high-end drive, by the way, as is the 990. We just want to get a budget 500 gigabyte. Now, you did identify that. You want 500 gigs of NVMe SSD storage. You want to buy that now for as cheap as you can get it. It says $799. I don't think this is actually in stock, but I don't know. Let's click the button. Let's click the button and find out here. Yeah, in fact, it doesn't appear to be actually in stock at Samsung. It's just kind of a mirage. So we do want to find a relatively cheap NVMe SSD for about $80. For the case, you must have watched our best budget gaming PC builds that we released just a couple weeks ago because we used this case, the Aqua Uno. I liked it, but I had some caveats with it in terms of the fans. The fans are 100% fan speed fans. They weren't overly loud. In fact, it's just sitting here to my left. It's really nice case. It's nice and compact too. GPU clearance, the length of it can be a little bit of an issue, but honestly, $45. Now, there are some other cheap cases out there, not quite as cheap as this, that you can also look at, but it is a good budget case if you need to save the money. So for $853, we've really just kind of really hemmed ourselves in here. We've gone with the wrong platform. We want to be on DDR4 at this price point. I know it feels a little bit bad, but DDR4 is going to give us the performance that we want, especially with a GPU at our current level there for the ARC B570. And we've just kind of misidentified where we're going with this build, but I think we can fix it. I call this the Dream Lives PC build in 2026. So this is a $750 gaming PC build. Remember, you already have your own PSU. I have a $50 PSU in here. So for you, it's a $700 build. For anybody building at home that doesn't have a PSU just sitting around, this is a $750 PC build. That way we can all play along together here. And I think it's going to give you pretty good frame rates at 1440p in all titles out there. It's also going to be something that you can upgrade in the future, both to the storage, the RAM, and potentially the CPU as well. It's going to give you good performance now, and again, that upgradability. But let's jump into what else the GPU here. You know, I went with the ARC B580 here for, again, that $700 price point. I think this is a pretty good GPU, $310 right now. It's come up about $20 in the last couple months. Will this go on sale back to $289? I don't know. And that's because the number of models out there have disappeared. There's only a handful of B580s out there anymore. So it might just be like kind of buy it now or forever hold your peace. I will also note right now, if you buy it, it's coming with the Intel Gamer Days bundle, which we'll go over in just a moment, because your alternatives here are to go back to the B570 that you had picked out with 10 gigs of VRAM instead of 12 gigs of VRAM, slightly slower. And yes, we are going to experience a little bit of a CPU bottleneck, but we'll talk about that when we get to the CPU. It's unavoidable at this budget level. $259 here. We could also consider just dropping down entirely in terms of GPU power to either the ARC A580, the previous generation, which you can pick up for $199 right here, or the A750 for $10 more. I would argue spend the $10. It is fast enough, as we'll see in those benchmarks just a second. I know some people are wondering, okay, Jason, what are our alternatives here from AMD and NVIDIA? Unfortunately, there's not a lot. Here's the RTX 5050 right now, $299, and that's for the low profile one that is clocked, slightly down clocked. Probably fine, but $320 if you want to pick up one of the other models. And you'll notice they rapidly go to $400. There's something going on with NVIDIA GPUs right now. It feels like they have completely run out of stock of just about everything, and the prices are going up. Of course, if you buy any of the Intel GPUs right now, I just want to mention you are going to get both Tomb Raider, Legacy of Atlantis, and Star Wars Galactic Racer. And I was actually surprised. I looked up some of the early community feedback on Star Wars Galactic Racer. People are super excited about it, as well as for Tomb Raider. So these look like pretty amazing games. They say it's a $120 value. They're each worth about $60 for free for those cheaper GPUs. So how much FPS can you expect for your $750 gaming PC build, including the PSU, or your $700 gaming PC build here in 2026 with those various GPUs? Well, this is the Tom's Hardware RTX 5050 review. So it's got all the GPUs in here, including the ARC B570, the ARC B580. This is at 1080p. Pretty good. It basically ties the RTX 5050, as we'll see in just a moment. They do better at 1440p than they do at 4K, the ARC GPUs do. And then we got the ARC B570 down there at around 60 average FPS. That's not bad. They're using ultra details here across 12 games. Typically, I've noticed Tom's has a suite that benefits NVIDIA somewhat, just slightly. If we go to 1440p here and take a look at that, the ARC B580 jumps up. Now, average of 50 average FPS at ultra details. Remember, no upscaling here, so obviously we're going to want to turn on upscaling at 1440p. DLSS4 is a better upscaler, so this is where you can probably make a choice here, just depending on where you want to go. Doesn't have the VRAM though, and may run out of VRAM in some titles. Only performs about as well as the ARC B570 at 1440p, again, with just raw rasterization, no upscaling. For the rest of the platform, obviously we need a CPU that's going to be cheap enough to fit in our budget and then is not going to overly bottleneck our GPU. We're going to have a little bit of a GPU or CPU bottleneck, I should say, regardless of what we do at this budget level. We just have to basically kind of work around it to make it the best we can do. I think that is the Ryzen 5 5500. Even with the ARC B580 or ARC A750, I think would be pretty good to pair with it at 1440p, especially in those more GPU-bound titles. Yes, there are some more CPU-bound titles where we're going to suffer a little bit, but again, we've got to pick our battles at this budget level. This is a great CPU with $25 promo cutoff. It basically makes it $74 right now at Newegg. It's also $74 at Amazon right now. Newegg, they also are going to throw in a free tower air cooler that has a digital readout on top of it. It's basically like a $20 value. You don't need it because this does come with the Wraith Stealth cooler, and this is perfectly adequate to cool it. But if they're going to give us a better cooler, maybe we can even do a little bit of overclocking with it to help alleviate that CPU bottleneck. Now, one thing I want to mention, there are a lot of combo deals at Newegg for this CPU, motherboard, RAM that do bring the cost of it down. I'm only able to kind of get it where I am right now. So Newegg, maybe shave a little bit off these combo deals, or what you can do is you can go and use their PC builder, and I will link the full builds down in the video description with this. Look at this. You can save an additional $18 off if you combo it with the motherboard. I'm getting an additional combo of $20 with the motherboard, another combo of $20 with the RAM. The way I'm doing this for each component, I'm clicking this button right here that says combo up savings. I just list it then by the cheapest ones, and you can see which components you actually get a combo with, so you can put your own combos together. Right now, Newegg is running a promo on this where you get an additional 10% off. It won't be available by the time this video goes live, but essentially this would then be like a $250 combo, which is probably about 20 bucks cheaper than you can get on their combo page. For the motherboard, if you want to go with the combo motherboard that I've got linked in the description, you can. Otherwise, pick up a cheap motherboard like this. This is the MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi. There's the Pro VC Wi-Fi. There's a gigabyte board that is often super discounted as well. You're looking to spend about 80 bucks, basically, 80 to 90 maximum. I would get a B550 motherboard. That way you can overclock the CPU a little bit using AMD's auto overclocking precision boost overdrive. And in the future, you can get PCIe Gen 4 if you ever decide to drop in like a Ryzen 5700X3D, 5800X3D, something like that to upgrade with. For the RAM, we're just looking for 16 gigabytes of DDR4, 3200 CL16, or 3600 CL18. I tend to prefer the 3200 stuff because it's less taxing on the memory controller, so just kind of iron out any potential little problems I'll have there clocking the memory up using the XMP timings on them. Remember, you do have to go into the BIOS and turn on the XMP or DOCP timings in order to get the RAM to run at the full rated speed. This is a perfectly fine kit for $115, but again, that promo kit I found with the combo was only $105. For the NVMe SSD, you knew that you only needed 500 gigs. Right now, I would recommend only 500 gigabyte drives until next year, when I do expect SSD prices to be the first to fall after the AI bubble begins to burst, because they can directly take the NAND chips that are going into server SSDs basically, and they can transfer them directly over to consumer ones, whereas that's not necessarily the case with the memory that they're making. They're making high bandwidth memory, but SSD prices will be among the first. So get what we need to survive right now, 512 gigs. We've been able to do this in the past. We can still do it now. And then for the PC case, I was actually surprised. Not only is this still $45, but I can actually get a 10% coupon if I click this here. Hopefully that's still available for you. That basically makes it a $40 PC case. At that point, I don't care about the fans being fixed speed. I will take it. $40 is insane. And for those of you who need a PSU, I threw in my best value budget PSU. This is the Roswell VSB, 650 watt. It's C tier rated on the SPL PSU tier list. It's semi-modular. The cables are pretty easy to work with. It's got a relatively quiet fan that I've noticed. and $49, pretty good deal. So all told, for $750 or $700 for you, because you've already got your own PSU, you're going to get a 1440p capable gaming PC build. It's not going to run at the highest FPS, but you're going to run at 1440p at acceptable frame rates with upscaling on there. You've got room for future upgrades, potentially a 5800 X3D, certainly a GPU upgrade, and it's going to actually fit within your budget. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. All right, we got Matt's song. In the US, this is a brand new build at $1,800. The budget is for the PC only. And Matt says, this is my first computer build experience and it's for my son. All right, father-son build, that's awesome. Now he's picked out the parts. I guess your son has picked out the parts. I wanna see if this is gonna be a good enough equipment for the next many years to avoid having to upgrade for some time. He does gaming, so I want it to be good at 1440p and 4K so that getting a new monitor in a few years will be the next best upgrade. The good news, by the way, gaming monitors are dirt cheap. You may even decide to spend some of that budget right now to get the good monitor, but let's see what you got. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. What is going on with this build here? I think we've got a couple of things going on. We got a time capsule build. We're massively over budget, but let's start off where else? Let's start off with the budget. You finished out at $2,169.97. I'm having a hard time figuring out why we're so far over budget. Obviously, 32 gigs of DDR5 memory is super expensive. Let's start with your GPU. I kind of like the GPU choice here. I don't know if this is the one we want to get. Prices have been fluctuating quite a bit. This is the XFX Swift Radeon RX 9070, 16 gigabyte. I think maybe we could squeeze in a 9070 XT into this build. Maybe we can't. If we can't, that's okay. The 9070 is still very, very powerful. It's the kind of GPU that you would expect to see in this build. Fortunately, as we'll go on over in just a moment, our NVIDIA options aren't so good. Okay, here's where the wheels just fall off the bus, and I think I know why. I feel like this is a time capsule build. What's a time capsule build? When people look at older videos on the internet or older information on the internet, without necessarily having a year on it, they're like, oh, this is the i5 14400 is a great CPU for 1440p. Unfortunately, this is now a budget gaming CPU. It just is. A couple years ago when it first came out, then maybe you could have considered it more of a mid-range CPU. I don't think it was ever competitive really with the Ryzen 7600. We're just going to find something else though, because this is just not where we want to go. Here's the other challenge. I think we've gotten bit by the Corsair virus. I feel like we've got a lot of things coming in because I noticed we got a lot of Corsair parts in here. And there was a day back in the day where spending $160 for a 240 millimeter performance level all-in-one liquid cooler was perfectly acceptable, but that was like 5 years ago, okay? Nowadays, you can get really good performance at 240 millimeters for like 40 to 50 bucks, like a third of the price that we're trying to pay here. So I think we're gonna need to reevaluate our cooling options. Another thing, we're using a Z790 motherboard with a locked Intel CPU, just FYI. Now, on the one hand, you know, LGA 1700 motherboards are becoming fewer and farther between, and the nicer ones, maybe you buy a Z790 if it's on sale, right? But typically you want a B series motherboard to get more advantage of the more budget stuff. I think we just got kind of a mismatch here. I think we want to go away from the LGA 1700 platform altogether. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the differences here. Here's where I think we've got a real decision point at $1,800. $2,000 would be comfortable enough to say, yes, we're going to get 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and we're not going to worry about it. $469, a little expensive. We can also pick up some good combo deals. However, 32 gigabyte ones typically come with super high-end motherboards, super high-end CPUs, and they might actually push us out of our price range a little bit. I think maybe let's take a look at 16 gigs first, but if we can, we will get 32 gigs. Whew. Samsung 9100 Pro, 1 terabyte, $249 for 1 terabyte just makes my eyes bleed. And it's not your fault. That's actually not bad for a Gen 5 drive. In fact, this is one of the better priced Gen 5 NVMe SSDs out there. The problem is we don't need a Gen 5 NVMe SSD. A Gen 3 or Gen 4 is perfectly adequate, especially for gaming and most regular person tasks. Unless you're doing massive file writes for like video editing and things like that, this is not necessary. We can pick up a drive for about $150 that will do the job for us. The NZXT H5 Flow, I think it's fine. I know a lot of people like NZXT as a brand. I have some problems with them because of some anti-consumer stuff that they did with kind of more pre-built and rental computers that Gamers Nexus and some others did. I don't want to say I'm banning them. If you want to use this case, we'll absolutely use it. It's just not my first thing that I would reach for, especially at $75 right now. It only comes with 2 included non-RGB fans, although I've noticed no RGB really on much of the thing except for the cooler, so maybe that's a theme for you. And then I don't know what happened here. We've got the Corsair RM1000X. This is where I'm saying the Corsair virus. First of all, 1,000 watts, way more power than we need, way more power than we need. Now, there's nothing wrong. If you got a deal on this, there'd be nothing wrong with picking up a bigger PSU, but this is $166 and there are 1,000 watt PSUs that are way cheaper. Let alone, I think we're going to end up with like 750 to 850 watts, and we're going to be able to save a ton of money. So all told, for $2,170, woof, we're like, what, $370 over our budget. We don't have the performance that we're looking for with that i5-14400F. We're massively overspending on things like the liquid cooler, on the SSD, possibly that PSU as well. So I think we could basically put this back together in a way that's going to give you the performance you're looking for and that future upgradability that you said you were yearning for. All right, let's jump into that $1,800 high FPS, either at 1440p or 4K gaming build here. I think you're really going to like the results of this thing. And I finished out exactly at your budget, $1,803.91. I think we've got a lot of power packed into this thing, and we've got some different options if you want to change the configuration up a little bit. Let's start with the GPU. I went with the RX 9070 non-XT version. This is the ASRock Challenger one, $649. They go up in price pretty quickly. I do like this one. We recently saw reliability data for like a lot of the 9070 and 9070 XTs. One of the ones that were leading the way in terms of fewest RMAs or return maintenance agreements out there, that means returning it when it's broken, was the ASRock Challenger model. Now, it doesn't have a lot of frills to it, but it is a nice model. And this is an OC for the 9070. The 9070 XT version is a non-OC version. The light bar on the top, by the way, that's the color you're going to get. It's LED. You can turn it off, but you can't change the color on it. That being said, $649, and we'll see the performance in just a minute. Now, what are my options here? Well, if I want to spend a little bit more money than I'm spending right now, we could go up to the 9070 XT 16GB, possibly could trade out a component, as we'll talk about in just a moment, to go to this level here. It's basically the same GPU, just higher clocks, basically a better binning of the GPU die itself. $719, it's only, what is that, $60 or $70 more, and you will get a little bit more performance. Now you might be wondering, Jason, what are my NVIDIA options? Well, unfortunately, this is what the RTX 5070 pricing looks like at the moment, and this is changing in real time. I kind of feel like NVIDIA has completely given up on the gaming GPU market with this pricing here. $800 for an RTX 5070, which is supposed to cost $549, is totally insane. 5070 Ti's are over $1,100 right now. As we saw earlier, the RTX 5050, 5060 pricing is crazy as well. There are basically no real RTX 50 series options on the market anymore at anything that I would consider a decent price. So how much FPS can you expect for your $1,800 gaming PC build in 2026? Well, it will depend on the GPU we use, obviously. This is TechSpot's RX 9070 GRE review, so relatively fresh data here, looking at all the GPUs that we were just considering. The RX 9070 XT does lead the pack here. 110 average FPS at 1440p, slightly faster than the 5070 Ti. Basically, they trade blows. It really depends on the game suite, by the way. You can put together a game suite that shows that the 5070 Ti is slightly faster, but they're effectively the same speed. And they both have similar benefits for FSR4 upscaling versus DLSS4 upscaling. The 9070 is not that far behind. It's only about 10% slower. And again, you're saving $70 or so if you go the 9070 route, and we're going to hit that $1,800 budget. The 5070 that you would even consider spending $700 for is significantly slower, and has less VRAM, 12 gigabytes of VRAM. In fact, I would say go all the way down to the 9070 GRE if you want to save some money, but that's our options right now. All right, for the rest of the build, you really have two options. The first option I'm going to go through is with the Ryzen 7600X3D, which I think is a perfect gaming CPU at this budget level, and it's going to give you the gaming performance that you want. If your son was like, Jason, I really want Intel, in our recent best builds for $1,800, I also did an i5 or Ultra 5 250K build in that one that you can check out and swap in those parts instead. But right now I'm going to go with the Ryzen 5 7600X3D. You can pick this up off Amazon. It's actually sold by Micro Center on Amazon. It's kind of crazy, but the 7600 X3D, you can cool it with a budget tower air cooler. Spoiler alert, we're gonna go with a higher end cooler on this because I think that's the aesthetic that you're looking for, but this is a great gaming CPU. It will smoke that 14400 for not that much more money, and it's really good even versus something like the 7700X or 9700X where you get better gaming performance because of the V-cache on the CPU. For the cooler, it seems like you want an all-in-one liquid cooler. Let's go with the ID Cooling FX360. There's the base version with just the infinity mirror here for $80. This is a good performing cooler. We've used it in a number of builds. We used it in our 9850 X3D build with the digital readout. So for $10 more, if you want to get the LCD digital screen on there and put some cool stuff on it, you can do that as well. I like these coolers quite a bit, but honestly, there's a ton of really good liquid coolers out there, 360 millimeter that you can get. For the motherboard, I went with my favorite kind of more premium but value-oriented motherboard. That is the Asus TUF Gaming B650E Plus. The B650E is a mid-range motherboard, nothing wrong with it, just doesn't have the upgraded features like the upgraded audio, some of the upgraded USB ports and things like that. This is a great motherboard. People say, Jason, B650E, why not B850? And they don't realize that B650E is actually a superior chipset to B850 sometimes because it guarantees a PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot. Whereas B850, most of them have it, not all of them have it though. For the RAM, this RAM kit right now is basically with the promo code is like $397. That's typically what you're gonna pay. Now you can find some Newegg combo kits. However, they put us all out of the price range because they're generally within 9800 X3D, which is a little too expensive. Now you can of course do what I did in one of the previous builds and you can kind of hunt and peck and try and use Newegg's PC Builder to find some combos in there, but you're going to end up paying about $400 for a 32 gigabyte RAM kit. This is a really good one. V-Color DDR5 6000 CL30. So some of the other kits you're going to find are DDR5 6000 CL36. Not that it really matters with X3D CPU, and honestly, not that it really matters in 2026. Just letting you know, if you do want to go 16 gigs of RAM, however, we could save $200 here and we could easily pump up that GPU instead. For the drive, we just need an NVMe SSD that's not going to bottleneck our system. Any Gen 3 or Gen 4 NVMe SSD will do for that. And we don't want to overspend. $134 for the 880 Legend. Now, if this sells out the other drives out there like $145, $150, I would buy one of those. You don't need that Gen 5 drive. You're just basically burning $100. You're never going to get any real benefit out of the additional performance that that drive can provide because it's really for high-end professional uses that you're not going to do anyway. I'd grab this, and next year when storage prices come down, you'll add some more storage in. For the PC case, you can keep the NZXT case that you had. I just want to say, only comes with 2 fans. You need some more additional fans with it. By the time you do all that, you're like $100 if you get NZXT fans for them. Instead, I went with the Fantex NV5S. Take advantage of some of the companies that are out there cutting PC case prices because they got to sell something out there. And so because PC sales are depressed right now, they're cutting prices on things like this. $60 after rebate. $60 after rebate for included ARGB fans. The ones on the side are reverse blade intake. It's got a light bar on the side. It's got a light bar on this side. It looks amazing. It's pretty much the direct competitor to the Lee V100R that I've been really pushing. But right now at $59, it's hard to argue with the value here and the amazing quality. For the PSU, we only need 750 watts. Feel free to spend another $10 and get the 850 watt if you want. And I'm going to go with an A tier rated unit. Now the Corsair unit you wanted, those are great. They're just massively overpriced right now for some reason. $70 for the ASRock Steel Legend SL 750 watt gold. Don't worry about the gold part. It's A tier rated on the SPL PSU tier list. The cables are pretty easy to work with on it. Overall, I love this PSU and the value's insane. So all told, for $1,803.91, you are going to get an amazingly performant 1440p or frankly even 4K gaming PC. You're going to get future upgradability in the future. You'll take out that 7600 X3D and drop in a 9800 X3D or 1000 X3D, whatever they call the next generation of X3D Ryzen CPUs. That liquid cooler is going to keep you going for a while, as is the 32 gigabyte RAM kit, by the way. We've got a premium motherboard and premium other components, so I hope you feel like your build is boosted. All the builds are linked down in the video description. Check those out. And of course, if you got value out of this video, please give it a like. Makes a huge difference to the channel, especially this guy right here. and subscribe for more cool PC content like Mr. Bear walking right off the screen. But seriously, check out this video right here for CPU price drops. That's right, significant CPU price drops all across retail right now. Check that out, or our 5800 X3D upgrade guide so you can upgrade your AM4 system. Check them out, and we'll catch you on the next one.